In this video, I'm going to be talking about how I accomplished multiple goals under just 2 years, even though the only thing I was doing is just watching Netflix and I was such a lazy bastard. So here's what I accomplished in less than 2 years. I started from zero money in my bank account, absolutely zero, and reached 10k plus a month as a coach. And I reached 1.1 million followers on TikTok and 270,000 followers on Instagram as a content creator. And I became from this to this as a vegan. Welcome to the video. My name is Sho, and I appreciate all of you guys enjoying my content, comments and love and the support. So I decided to put more love and effort into the YouTube. So if you like it, if you're new to my channel, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and notification bell. There are a few keys that I've learned on my personal experience and fasten the process of accomplishing goals and manifesting things that I want in my life. And I'm going to be talking about discipline, contentment, detachment, and balance. And those 4 elements were really a game changer for me. And then along the way, I've learned all these skills and ideas and understanding, changing my perspective and challenging myself to accommodate into the new way. And I believe this 4 elements was taking such a big part of my attainment, my accomplishments in terms of, followers and building social presence and financial goals and attracting things and people into my life. Maybe you are somewhere that really similar to where I was before. Maybe you are just starting. Maybe you are in the middle of the process. Maybe you are feeling stuck in between. And I know the fact that these 4 elements or some of the elements will match exactly where you are and what you need to hear. So let's just dive in. The first element is a discipline. And people think when a lot of people hear the discipline, they imagine some sort of like army training. But it doesn't have to be that way. You're just going crazy every single day. You wake up 4 a.m. and just go crazy with the workout and everything else that you do, you just go crazy. But I personally define my way of discipline more like a samurai. So I actually made a video about samurai's way of the philosophy of samurai and how I got inspired in terms of staying disciplined and being present in the moment. So if you're not really a fan of these military, little bit insane, crazy, too intense discipline, then you might want to go into this video and then learn how the more zen version of discipline. And then when you break down the discipline, what you really need is the rules and routines, and you just need to follow those rules and routines. So it's such a simple idea to execute, but to actually bring that into an action and being consistent about it, that's where we struggle the most. So let's make sure, what is the rule that you have? Write that down. What is the rule that you have, that you set? And what is the routine that you want to follow? And then when you're about to start, the first step is always the hardest. The first step is always the first success. So you need to understand that actually starting is not easy. And the best way to start is to start small. If you're starting from 100, like insane amount of discipline straight away, then obviously you're going to quit. But if you're starting small and then building the tension and getting used to those the uncomfortable or new routine, new way of living, then you will most likely have less burnout. And they say the blank page is the worst for every writers out there. And the second obstacle that we tend to face is the lack of motivation. So we start to fade away from the routine and rules that we followed. First a week, couple weeks, maybe couple months, we stay there and we hold on to it. But then 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, we start to skip all these simple things, and because we feel off and we feel like a bit tired, and all these tiny moments and decisions that we spend up here, it build up again. Like you build up those new routines, you build up these like, oh yeah, I'll do it tomorrow, oh, I'll skip it, and it becomes like 5 days and 6 days, and now you actually don't do it anymore. So what happens is that the lack of motivation becomes again back to the habitual thing, you telling yourself like, oh, I want to skip it because I feel off today. I think I should do it tomorrow. Like these small moments, and then you just again go back to there, and you're so comfortable not doing it. It is now a mental game. The more you spend your time up here, the weaker you become. So you have to not to spend your time there negotiating with yourself, like whether you should go to the gym, whether you should eat a cake, whether you should wake up at 5 a.m. You just do it. Do it and think about it later. Just do and think about it later. And always remind yourself why you're doing this in the first place. If you've done it for a couple of weeks, you already done a couple of weeks. Don't waste your effort and time into the bin because you feel off today. Okay? Always remind yourself, why am I doing this in the first place? Because if you think about it, if it's the work, you have to go to the work. You know, whether you feel off, whether you feel tired, whether you feel heavy. You know, you have such a power. Just like, oh fuck, I feel a bit off and I feel tired, but I have to go to work. And you just go there, and then you can always do the work. And so which means there is a power within you. There's ability. You are capable to actually do it. But when it comes to you giving yourself an option, and now you're overwhelmed and you have so many options that you can choose, now your weakness comes up and like, okay, yeah, let's just do that. So the more you give yourself an option, or 2 options, 3 options, you will most likely fail because you can choose. But when we are not in a situation without the choices, we can actually do it. The next element is the contentment. And this is one of the most important skills that you need to have. It is a skill. I believe this is a skill. To being happy, to being content is a skill. Because there's so many people preaching out there on social media or YouTube, whatever it is, that like I found myself unhappy with all the success that I could have, right? So, which means that external factor doesn't make us happy, money doesn't make us happy, and we all know that. Consciously, we all know that because we have heard of this idea everywhere. But the truth is, even if you don't have the goals, and even if you don't have that materialistic or money, or like whatever it is that we want or we have, we are not content. We are not happy. But why is that? Because we don't learn how to feel that way in the process of attaining something, or in the process of chasing your dreams. And the truth is, this is probably the reason, the capital reason, that I could accomplish very fast, and I was not burnt out in the process. Well, I actually experienced the burnout before, but in the under 2 years of the last 2 years, I actually didn't have a burnout, even though there was a lot of moments that I could have burnt out. And when I look back, when I was experiencing that progress in any stage of my success or any stage of my process, there was a moment that I look back and, oh yeah, I get exactly what I was. I'm receiving exactly what I was internally. So you cannot manifest, or you cannot receive anything that doesn't matches with your internal state and internal growth, internal world, internal everything. So it's better than asking yourself, why am I not doing this? Why am I not having this? Why other people are having this and that and XYZ, but why I'm not getting views? Why I'm not getting money? Why? Because you're not just simply not self-aware enough. But it's hard because we have egos, because we have fears. It's really hard to expand your self-awareness in that level when you're experiencing the obstacles and challenges. And 90% of our life we spend in unconscious mind, which means we're oblivious to our thought process, emotional process, behavior process, whatever it is. So you have to understand, wherever you are, there's something that you can fix internally. There's something you can improve internally. Whether it is your limiting beliefs, whether it is your attitude, whether it is your physical actions. So people don't find themselves happy with all the success they have. It's simply because their internal state doesn't allow us to be content in this present moment, which they just didn't learn that skill. They just learned all the other skills to be successful and make money and then, being a famous actor or like whatever it is, but they didn't just learn how to be content in this present moment, whether they have little or whether they have so much. So it's better to make that a habit, to practice on a daily basis to get back to this present moment and really remind yourself every single day, maybe when you wake up or when you go to sleep, you remind yourself every day what you have and how much you appreciate it. Maybe it's a microphone, maybe it's a camera, maybe it's a laptop. If I have these three things, I can actually make a content. Well, I don't need a microphone, but it deserves an appreciation because of this, I can make high quality content. So rather than me wanting the $2,000, $3,000 camera to update from the Sony that I have right now, which is $1,000, or having this $100 microphone and thinking about, maybe I should buy a Shure, which is $500. Why don't we appreciate and the fact that I can work because of this? It's so ironic, the fact that to being content, to being happy, it doesn't take anything. It doesn't require anything for us to be happy and to feel content in this present moment. We just need to remind ourselves and navigate ourselves to appreciate whatever we have, because we have so much to compare ourselves to, in a positive sense of manner and a negative sense of manner. When you compare yourself to others who has less than you have, then you appreciate yourself more. You appreciate what you have. There's a people who doesn't even have a laptop. There's a people who doesn't even have an arm. But when you compare yourself to others who has more than you have, that's when you feel like, I don't have enough. I have little. I need to get more. But the truth is, there's no point of getting more. And obviously this is one of the problem right now, because we have social media and then people just posting. And honestly, from my position, I've met a lot of influencers. There's most of it sounds very douchey, but most of the influencers that I met was not really, it doesn't match with whatever they're carrying on social media. There's only few people that I've met, and then they have like a bunch of followers and millions of followers who was really genuine, is really nice and beautiful people, and also carry that charisma. It's so little, and what you see is most of the time it's quite bullshit. And from my point of view, and if you can take that perspective, then what you're doing is you're comparing yourself to an illusion. And this is the most important idea about being content. It's not about like you are absolutely content 24/7. That doesn't happen. I actually made a video about being happy. You should definitely check it out. But being content is not about like, yes, I am so happy and content all the time. Nothing bothers me. That's not what being content means. Being content is that how fast and how easily you can bounce back from these moments that you get frustrated, you get annoyed, that you get sad, you get stressed. But you can bounce back from this neutral setting that you're very optimistic and you're very positive, and you're genuinely happy with whatever you have. And the next element is the detachment. And this is the skill that you need in order for you to reduce the amount of stress that you're feeling on a daily basis. There's a study shows that your brain cannot perform the best when it's tense. When it's tense means when it's stressed. So that's why all the best ideas that comes to us and people is in the shower, supermarket, wide supermarket, I don't know, but it's a relaxing place, yes. And shower, I'll just keep going, pretend that I didn't say the supermarket. And you know what I'm saying? You get the point. And then when you're so caught up with the result, and then you start asking yourself like, why I'm not getting this? I deserve this. That will stress you even more. And it's just you're constantly 24/7 all the time, like even in your dream, you're stressed. Because when you're too focused on the result, you're not focusing on yourself, you're not focusing on your growth, you're not focusing on your internal state. Which again, your internal state really equals whatever you experience in a physical reality. And of course there's going to be a lot of like ups and downs, and there's going to be a lot of like incident and accident and stuff like that, like why this is happening to me. Put those moments aside. Most of the time that when you're trying to accomplish something and on the goal there's like bumpy road and obstacles and ups and down, whatever you are in a stage, whatever you are in the process, in the journey, your internal state has to be prioritized in terms of like less stress, more relaxed, content, and you are doing the work. You are putting the work, you are trying to do whatever you can in that moment so that your physical action and your intention is completely aligned. And then when you're so attached to the result, you're leaning into the result. And then when you do that, your energy is so needy. And then when you have a needy energy, that repels the process, that repels whatever you want, that delays the process. So you're not doing anything, you're not doing a favor for yourself. You have to think that, hey, like that's not good for me. Thinking about the result and getting too attached to it is not good for me to actually get it. So rather than wanting it right now like a fucking Amazon Prime, take your time, allow yourself to have a space, to be okay, to take more time, have a bigger scale, bigger picture to actually get it, see the whole process of it. The next element is the balance. And I hate to break it to you, but there's no life-work balance. That, my friend, is for a lazy people by lazy people. So forget about the life-work balance, work-life balance, whatever it is, because back then I liked the idea, oh yeah, like we all need a work-life balance. Back then when I was a lazy bastard. But you know what that's called? That's called Amazon Prime. I'm back, sorry guys. That was Amazon Prime. But you need to balance yourself from this intense work and intense focus and this relaxing, peaceful time. And what I mean by that, you don't need to go for a drink and go crazy with the parties and just get hungover and wake up in, someone else's house. You can simply go for a walk. I mean, I'm not saying that, you shouldn't go to a party. You should definitely enjoy and socializing and, meet people and enjoy it. But the balance is not going to be 50-50. You can go for a walk if your intense focus requires for you to relax and change the pace. It is so important from get out from your house, get out from the office and have just a cup of coffee and walk and just look at the birds. That brings back to your present moment and the core and contentment. And again, if you're too stressed, we are not doing anything great. We have to balance ourselves tactically to reduce the amount of stress and then coming back and really maintain our best performance so that you can fasten the process. And if you had like a couple weeks, couple month intense work period, go for a vacation, go to a travel, like trip to somewhere for like a couple days. It can be somewhere close. It doesn't have to spend too much money. You can have a moment as much as you can, but invest, taking time and taking those balance your money in time. Invest those things because it is essentially fasten the process. It helps you to feel better and then to feel content and reduce the amount of stress that you're carrying. And if you have a tendency to be too hard on yourself, you gotta allow yourself. You have to allow yourself to have those moments to spend a quality time with yourself or with your family, with your friends. But if you feel like back of your head, if you know that it's wasting your time, like for example going to parties and just getting yourself drunk and next day you can't function, that you have to say no, because that's just a waste of your time. Obviously you're not doing anything for yourself. But if it's something that go for trouble, just a day or two, or go for a walk between the work, that's for you, allow you to work harder and then fasten the process. You have to take those balance. Wherever you are right now in terms of stage of the process or trying to accomplish goals, trying to start, these are really, really necessary elements to have. And then these are the skills. So you need to practice. You need to balance in a balanced condition. And it's not going to be 50-50, it can be 80-20, it can be 70-30. But having those little moments and fully enjoying, because most of the people literally go to the beach on a vacation and thinking about the work. That's not being present in the moment. If you work, then work. And if you go to the beach, enjoy. And don't hesitate to go for a walk, meditate, bring all these things in so that you can balance, you know, when it's so unbalanced. It's like a surfing. You know, you have to balance in such an unbalanced board and waves, and it's you can fall anytime, but you have to be balanced. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it, and let me know in a comment what is the key elements for you and for your stage right now, and I'll start putting more effort and love into the video. So if you have any ideas, let me know in a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao. Live your life like a movie.